So Quetzal Copper is a private company looking for early stage copper projects. And the project that we're presenting today is a project that was found early last year, and the company did a cheap option deal on it, and is pushing ahead with that project, but open to joint venture or investment opportunities going forward. It's a project that's northeast of Chihuahua on the way up to Texas, about a 2-hour drive, easy road access, very easy to get to. It's up in flat country. You can see the dark green here is the Sierra Madre, that's the mountains, whereas this is the desert. So quite an easy project to get to, past the old Plumosis lead zinc mine and head south. It's a large land package, nearly 700 hectare land package, with the key contact over 7 kilometres, and some work the company did shown a very interesting target, which I'll introduce. It was actually mined down to about 50 metres, it looks like, 20 to 50 metres in an oxide part of the system in the 70s and 80s. A local Mexican group tried to restart it in 2007 with a little 100-tonne per day operation and didn't make a lot of progress. The most material work prior to Cristina's getting the project was Cyprium Mining optioned the project, and I think started to show some of the potential, but never really understood that this was a CRD target, so never really cracked the true upside in the property. And so you can see 2 photos here. One is the old workings at the old mine site. There's a head frame. You can clearly see where they were mining. And what gets your attention immediately is in the drill core, an old hole of 4.3 metres at 3.2% copper. Beautiful chalcopyrite mineralisation, nice width. Just a glimpse or a hint of what could be there. It's got very good grade. You're drilling to see how big that volume could be. And so it had previously been described as an epithermal, and I think Quetzal's breakthrough was to understand that this is a CRD skarn system. And so that means you explore it differently, and it opens up the potential a lot. If you look at the claim map on the left, you can see the project outline here along that key contact, a break between some sort of limey sediments and a rhyolite unit that forms a great contact. And to the south, there's an Oligocene intrusive stock that looks like the heat engine that drives that subsequent alteration and mineralization. And so if you think of a section right through here, that's what you get in Peter McGaw's classic CRD model, where that dashed line here forms the contact between the limestone unit and the cap rock. There's a whole sea of calcite veins around the Cristina's mine. And the drilling looks like they've just chipped into the top of the system, but they've only drilled down about 80 metres, and that's got to be followed up to see the full potential of the system. So you've got open economic intercepts. The question here is, how big could Cristina's become as a project? If you look at this slide, you're looking at the property scale on the left, and distally you see very high silver numbers relative to copper. And by the time you move down to Cristina's itself, it's copper rich, really distinctive symbol of a CRD system. The thing that's a bit unusual for CRD systems is that it's copper rich. It doesn't seem to have the lead zinc signature. There is a lead zinc CRD about 15 kilometres to the north, but this seems to be a much more copper dominant system, which is a little different. And for companies like Cristina's to like copper, very favourable. If you zoom into that mine area on the right, every red rock chip sample is above 1% copper. So, there's nearly over a kilometre strike of percent plus copper over that area. And if we zoom into the very core area, that's what was drilled in 2013 by Cyprium. These are maps drawn by that organisation. You see the plan map with the I think it was 12 holes that were completed. And they were thinking in panels of mining, and as people who look at projects in Mexico know, it's often the drill holes are presented in this panels of mining with red as high confidence and green as interpretive panels. The most important thing is the shallowness of those drill holes. As I said, no drill hole below 80 metres, and the 2 deepest holes are between 2.5% and 3.5% copper, with widths increasing at depth. So it just encourages you to step down and drill this deeper and see what the ultimate endowment could be. But the company did an EM survey in the middle of this year, fixed loop survey. You can see the loops in white, the veins in red, and the dots being the stations where they're collected, and got a really fantastic result. The red plates there show a continuation of the mineralization. In fact, it might be easier on this next slide. So this is looking at in sort of pseudo section, not looking at a plan map. And so you can see the early drill holes, you know, the 4.3 meters at 3.2% copper, the 2.5 at 3% copper, and that EM plate continues a long strike and down depth over 350 meters. So really high probability target that that's going to expand. Incredibly, got more targets as part of that survey in green. There's one hole clipped a little bit of mineralization, you know, just under a meter at 2%. There's a whole nother hanging wall structure that's likely to be more copper mineralization. And then two more further south, the southern target and the David target. And they were some of the best conductors that we got. So we know there's copper mineralization around. We know there's more of a skarn system further to the south. Great walk up drill targets. You know there's economic copper. The question is, can we get into that fat part? Can someone drill and find a 10-20 meter interval and really turn this from an exciting prospect into a large copper resource? So the company's breakthrough is recognizing that it's a different system to other people have noted. It's copper rich. The deepest intercepts are the highest grade and the widest. And really, you're looking to chase that structure to depth and see where it blows out into a real chimney or a wide manto. The EM's done a great job. And it just needs a drill program to step out and maybe an EM survey across the airborne survey to find more targets across the property. So I think Cristina, which is in a private company and can't be found anywhere else other than SearchSpace, shows that potential in Mexico. If people are interested, please reach out through SearchSpace or the company directly, and happy to share that information and look for investment partners or possibly even an option partner. So that's the Cristina's project in 10 minutes.